Hi everybody, it's Maya, and today I want to do a chatty get ready with me. Let's talk about my absolute worst dates. I'm gonna preface this with saying this all happened between 2014 and 2016. None of these stories are about Donovan, my fiance now. So this first story happened in 2014 in June. So I was 15 at the time. I have never had my first kiss. I never really had any boy that was interested in me in any sort of way. And I was on Facebook and this one dude, I'm just gonna say their names because I don't give an F about them. And both these dudes are awful people, so we're just gonna say their names. But his name is Jake. He was messaging me on Facebook and his profile pictures weren't very recent. They were all from like a few years prior, and I didn't really know what he looked like other than like what he looked like in his a few years ago pictures. So he was messaging me and he was being flirty, and this was the first dude that's ever actually given me attention. So I was obviously, eating it right up because no boy has ever messaged me before. I was literally 15 years old. Like I didn't look bad, but I didn't look good, and no boys were ever interested in me. Everyone in my grade already was talking about having their first kisses and all of that. They all were just dating each other. Like, they were so far ahead of me. So I was like, is there something wrong with me? Why haven't I had this experience yet? Why is no guy interested in me? So the first dude who actually showed interest in me, I showed interest back, even though he was like a 3 out of 10. Now he's a 0, but at the time he was like a 3. Like, he wasn't even average. Like, he did not look good. I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just being honest. And I didn't have a type back then either. I was into whatever. He was messaging me, he was flirting, and I basically told him that I was inexperienced, and he loved that. He knew my age. We were messaging each other for like a week or so, and I didn't know his age until later. Like, he was just being a predator, like telling me that it's fine and all. Just an older guy showing you attention when you're 15 years old. Like, obviously you're gonna think that they like you and that it's something special because they're older, but no, it's just downright creepy and disgusting. I didn't know any better at the time, so I went over to his house with the intentions of getting my first kiss and getting more experienced. I will just say that. The messages, like, I was one way on the messages, but when it actually came down to showing up, I obviously wimped out because it was my first time with anything. So I go over to his house, and he lived like 3 towns over. Like, he lived not too far, but just in like a more bad area, I guess. And I don't know, we pulled up to his house and he was standing in the front lawn, and it was my first time actually seeing what he looked like. And one, he was super tall. He was like 6 foot. And 2, he had more weight than the pictures. Now, he wasn't necessarily like gigantic, but he was a little bit on the overweight side, and his hair was way darker than his pictures. Like, he just did not look anything like his pictures, and I was like, that should have been the red flag. I should have turned away right then and there. But I was so desperate to get my first kiss and all of that, so I went through with it. I get to his house, his mother and his sister are sitting on the couch. They're just greeting me, and the first thing he tells them is, "This is Maya." Like, he said my name wrong, and she is 17 years old. I was 15. And then I just played along. I also didn't correct him when he said my name wrong. But his mom was like, "Oh, how do you guys know each other?" He said we knew each other from school and that I was just coming over to hang out. And yeah, we get to his room. I made him watch this funny movie, The Hot Chick. I still love that movie. But I made us watch that, and he was trying to do things while we were watching the movie, and I was not having it. I kept pushing him away, so he finally got the hint. And he was like Jake was like, oh, I want to go get high really quick, so I'm gonna run to my friend's house, which is right down the block, and I'm gonna go get some weed, and I'm gonna smoke it on the way here, because I didn't like the scent. Like, I already told him, like, I'm not comfortable with that, because I've never experienced drugs or alcohol, anything. So I was like, I'm not comfortable with that. So he's like, okay, I'll just smoke it on the way here. Yeah, so he did that, and then he comes back. His breath just stunk like weed. It was just really weird when he was gone, because I was just sitting in there with his family and we weren't talking. But the only good thing about his house was that he had this dog. Oh, I love that dog so freaking much. I miss her. Or him. I don't know if it was a girl or a guy. But I miss that dog. Long story short, he comes back, breath smelling like weed, and he sits down next to me. And he's just like, oh, I really want to kiss you. And I was like, okay. And he did. And little 15-year-old me was like thinking that it was the best thing ever, when it was literally the worst. And yeah, so that happened. I'm not going to spare the details. I stayed at his house for like 6 hours or so. I spent like a long time there. And also at the time, like, thinking back to this, like, why did I even go through with this? But we only kissed. Like, he tried doing other things, and I kept saying no. And at one point, we were in his room, and his mom was outside the window staring at us, which was really weird. And then right before I was about to leave, as I was trying to leave his room, he decides to stand, like, close the door, turn the lights off, and then like he's like pushing me against the wall, and he was just like this, and I couldn't escape. And he was just trying to like kiss me more, I guess. And I honestly didn't like it at the time. Like, I really was not into it, but I just told myself that this is how dating is, and this is the best I'm going to get, and I just have to settle for this dude because no one else is going to love me. No one else is going to show interest in me. I'm never going to have a chance like this again. So I just like went along with it, I guess. And then like later that day, he was like texting me, oh yeah, like, we're dating. And I was like, you didn't ask me to be your girlfriend. No, we're not. Like, at least I had some sort of balls to be like, no, because you didn't even ask me. I consider that to be the worst date, because obviously I got freaking groomed, if that's the proper use of that word. Like, did I even say his age? He was 19. He was 19 years old and I was 15. He told me to tell my dad that he was only 17, and he obviously told his parents that I was 17. It was just a horrible experience for me, and it wasn't until 2 years ago where I actually realized what had happened. This whole time I was thinking, oh yeah, my first kiss was with this dude and I regret it. But now I'm like, yeah, no, not it. Thank God nothing else happened, because yeah, like, obviously it wasn't as traumatizing. Like, it's not a traumatizing experience, it's just like an uncomfortable one to think about, that I was so naive, and he obviously took advantage of me. And yeah, never again. But he still was trying to hit me up years later, and he's blocked on everything. Like, ugh, he's weird. This next story is about, this is where I got the idea, like, worst date I've ever been on. This happened in 2016 in February. I was 17 years old. Like, I was turning 18 later that year, like in November, obviously, but I was only 17 at the time. This dude, his name is Nick. He was 18, I believe. Like, he was my age, just like his birthday had already passed, so no weird situations there, don't worry. I was friends with him on Facebook for like maybe a year and a half before we started actually talking. I would always see his posts, and I always thought he was so funny. I never really showed interest. Like, I never really looked and saw what he looks like, but I don't know. One time he posted something, and I went to his profile, and I'm like, oh, he's actually kind of cute. Like he was like emo, had like flippy hair, glasses. Like he was like an emo nerd, but he was cool and people liked him, so he had like confidence, so it was attractive. Looking back at him now, he is the complete opposite of what I would go for. Like no, he's not it. Anyways, I was going through his profile. I thought he was cute, so I decided to just, you know, like his posts a little bit extra. Like I would laugh, react at everything, and then I would go to his profile pictures and I would, you know, like them and just kind of spam his profile. That was my way of making a move without saying anything, because I would never make the move. So that's what I did. And he did the same thing back. He went to my profile, he started spamming my pictures, and we were just going back and forth spamming each other's pictures. Eventually he messaged me and he was just like, oh yeah, you're really cute. And I have had a few boyfriends before, since the Jake incident, so I wasn't like desperate for a guy at this point. I just was really interested in him. He was funny. He had like a dark sense of humor, which I have sort of a dark sense of humor, and he just seemed like someone, like I just thought me and him would sort of go really well together. So yeah, we were messaging for about a week or so, and it started, you know, turning into a little bit, it got a little bit more spicy, if you know what I mean. Like we would send pictures. I was in 2015, 2016, I had a whole phase. Like, oh my god, let's not talk about that. But I had a phase. Like, regardless, I never did anything with anybody other than, I only kissed 2 guys other than Donovan. Jake and Nick. Didn't kiss nobody else in my life, and Donovan was my first everything else. So I didn't necessarily get around physically, but over text I did. And I don't know, I really liked him. Obviously it was all mostly lust at this point. Like, obviously I wasn't planning on doing anything with him. It was still fun to just, you know, mess around over text and stuff. Long story short, before we even go on a date was already like a huge red flag. So we were texting one day, and I don't know why I had this weird feeling to go on his Facebook, and I saw that this girl posted on his wall, and she was just like, obviously they're together. I was very confused because, like, he's messaging me. I thought he was single. Like, he doesn't say that he's in a relationship on Facebook. Like, there's no status on there. So I was just very confused, and I asked him, I'm like, do you have a girlfriend? Like, what the hell? And he was like, oh yeah, like technically yeah, but don't worry about her. Like, I don't really want to be with her anymore. I'm planning on breaking up with her at the end of the week. And I was like, oh, I didn't know. I was just like, that's kind of weird. I'm kind of uncomfortable now. And he was just like, oh no, don't worry. Like, I'll break up with her by Monday. If I'm not broken up with her by then, like, you can cut me off. I don't know what his reasoning was, but I just know he gave me like a deadline. So we were talking still, but I wasn't sending him nothing. Like, I told him, like, I'm not gonna send you pictures or none of that until y'all are broken up. So Monday comes around, he's messaging me again, and he asked me on a date. Like, I don't really know all the details of what had happened between then. All I know is that I said yes to a date under the impression that he was single and that he broke up with her, because I could not find anything of them on Facebook anymore. Like, she was not posting on his wall, he wasn't posting on hers. Like, there was no indication of that. And he was also being super flirty with me on Facebook, like on my public posts and stuff. So obviously I was like, well, then he's single. I didn't necessarily ask, but he asked me out on a date, so I thought that he was single. He lived like 30 minutes away. I had to take the expressway to get to his house. And not that this is bad, but I pulled up and he lived in like a trailer park. If you live in a trailer park, that's fine. But he was hyping himself up to be this like rich, I have money, I'm gonna spoil you, all of this. And he just lived in a really, like, not the fact that it was a trailer park, but it was an awful neighborhood too. And also his license got taken away like a month prior to us talking. He said that he was like racing or something and they took his license away, they suspended it, so he couldn't pick me up, so I had to drive out to him. Our plan for the date was to go downtown, which is only like 25-30 minutes away from my house. My dad, like, he picked up Nick from his trailer and then dropped us both off at the train station. And I just remember my sister not necessarily liking him. Didn't give me any reason. She was just did not like him. So I was a little bit weirded out by that. But I just wanted the date to happen because he was really funny and he was really nice. And so I thought. So we get to the train station. We're having a good time. Just goofing off and stuff. We're literally just riding to the city. We were talking about everything. Just like you would on a date. Like, we were just talking about ourselves and everything. And he gets a text message and it's from his girlfriend and she's saying like, baby, I miss you, like with a bunch of Y's, and baby, I miss you, like one of those messages. And I looked at him and I was just like, what the hell? I'm like, you're still with her? And this is before the date even started. And he was like, oh my god, like, I just felt really bad, like I don't want to be with her, I want to be with you, and just wouldn't shut up about that. He just kept saying like, I wanted to break up with her, I just couldn't find the heart to do it. And me being naive at the time, I wasn't desperate for a boyfriend, but we didn't even start the date yet. I was like, okay, well, how about you break up with her right now? So he was like, I don't think I can, like I don't have the heart to tell her. Do you think you could send her a text? So, and I had told this story on here before, however I deleted the video after like a day. So if you did happen to see the video, it's the same story, but it was only on YouTube for like a day. After a while of him begging me, I was like, okay, if you are really serious about it, I will send the text. So I just sent like, hey, this isn't working out, I'm breaking up with you, and then I blocked her immediately. I just made it short and sweet. I wasn't mean. Really quickly, I don't know why I even continued the date with him, to be honest. If it was me now, we would not even be in the situation. I would have been gone. It would have been over. Like, there would be no date. The rest of the date was really, really fun. We like walked around the city. We walked everywhere. We went to Dunkin'. I remember this was like another red flag that happened. So he had my phone. I don't know why he had my phone, but he decided to go through it. He's like, oh, are you talking to guys? And I was like, no, not really. I was like, but to be honest, you might find some messages in there, but we're not dating yet, so there shouldn't be an issue. Like, once I'm your girlfriend, all those guys will be deleted, blocked, like, we're not even together yet. So he decides to click on this one dude named AJ, who I was obviously flirting with, and there was pictures in the text messages, and he was clicking on them and looking through them, and he's like, he got pissed. Like, he was just like, oh, you're talking to dudes? And I was like, yeah, and you had a girlfriend, what about it? Because like, when you agree to go on a date with someone, like, you still have your other options. Like, I still had other options, but we weren't official yet. And if the date went really well, I would have cut all the dudes off, but he didn't give me a chance. He's like, you were talking to this guy last night before our date, and I was just like, and you had a girlfriend. So that was funny. I should have taken that as my next red flag, but I didn't. I just, yeah, the fact that he got so mad. Like, went out and got pizza. We went to the Water Tower Mall. He bought me a gigantic Hershey's Kiss. He bought me some other things too. I don't really remember what they were, but I just remember us having a good time, and it was pouring rain out, and we were like sitting by the lake, and like we kissed, and it was really cute. Like, had all the other drama not been there, it would have been like a really nice, memorable thing. But no, the date ended. But he was like sitting on the train, and he was like, oh yeah, like, I want to ask you out, but I don't think now's the right time. And I was like, okay. And And he's like, but trust me, like I will next time we go on a date. And I was like, okay. Didn't make any sense. I really love this eye look. It's so pretty. I love it so much. Anyways, the date ended. We went back to just, you know, texting. We did FaceTime a lot, and eventually we went on a second date. I decided to bring him to my art show. Like a few hours before the art show, I was sitting in class and he sends me a text. It was like a gigantic paragraph, and this should have been the third red flag, but I didn't listen. He sends me a gigantic paragraph basically confessing that he's a cheater, that he has an issue. He has never had a relationship where he didn't cheat on the person, and that he's trying to fix it. He's trying to find the right girl who he's not going to cheat on. And he just warned me. He's like, yeah, so if I were you, like I would leave now, like I'm probably going to cheat on you, but if you want to stay, like I'll try really hard. I was just telling my friend in class how I, you know, had this dude I was talking to and how excited I was. And I was like, well, that's funny. He just texted me right now. And I showed her, and I was just like, what do I say? You know, and that text was really hard to read. I was really upset by it, but I thought that I could change him. I was just like, oh no, like I could change you, me being the super naive person that I am. And he was like, okay, well, if you're willing to, you know, stick this out and try with me, like I'll promise you I'll try super hard. And also my family was coming to my art show too, so I was embarrassed if he wasn't showing up all of a sudden. Some multiple reasons why I decided to just go through with it anyway. You know, we go to the art show. He met my grandma, he met my dad, he saw my artwork. Like, it was honestly really cute if he wasn't a cheater. And also I noticed when we were sitting in the car, because my dad drove all of us there together, when we were sitting in the car, I saw my contact photo for him. Like, well, my contact photo was in his phone, and it was one of my pictures. Like, it wasn't completely naked. It was me in a bra and underwear, but and my face wasn't even in it. It was literally just my body, and I was like, oh. And I asked him about it. He's like, oh yeah, like you just look really good there. And I was like, okay, but you need to change that because my family's literally right there, and if they see your phone, like, I think it was his lock screen too at some point. I don't know. So he did change it. But that was another huge, gross red flag. Like, it's not even my face. Oh, I am obsessed with this makeup look. It's like done. Oh my, OMG. Doesn't it look so cute? Yeah, so that date was honestly really fun. The only red flag was like the picture. And also, after the art show, we went to Famous Dave's. What's funny is my sister took a picture of me and him at the table, like eating, and Donovan, my fiance now, he saw the picture on Facebook and he liked it. The reason why me and Donovan are together is honestly because of Nick. I will finish the whole story off with that. Yeah, Donovan saw the picture and he got jealous, and that's how he knew that he needed me and that I was going to be his person, because the way he felt when he saw that picture. After dinner, Nick comes back to my house, and me and my sister shared a room, obviously, and he was trying to make moves in my bed, and my sister was just in her bunk bed watching down at us, and my dad told her to stop him and stop us from doing anything. So, like, we only ever kissed, you know. And he was just so desperate to do anything. You would think I would notice all these damn red flags, but I did not. And yeah, he still, like, at the end of that day, he still didn't ask me to be his girlfriend. Like, we were telling everybody that we were together. Like, we were each other's profile pictures on Facebook. Like, he was posting me all over Snapchat, but he never made it official. And also, I forgot to mention, at the end of our downtown date, he took pictures of us kissing at the lake, and he sent all those pictures to his ex. I don't know why, but he did. And she got pissed at me. I don't remember what happened with that, but I was just like, he broke up with you. He's with me now. Basically, that's all I said, you know? But she was pissed at me, calling me like a homewrecker and like all this crap, and I was like, no, like he broke up with you. Anyways, me and her are good now though. I'll get into all that. Then the next week, this was all in the span of like a month, he wanted to come over, and it was after school, and he was like, yeah, I still don't have my car, but I will ride my bike to your house. It's gonna take like 3 hours though. And I was like, oh, okay, because I couldn't pick him up for some reason. I was like, okay. So 6 o'clock rolls around, he wasn't at my house when he should have been, and I didn't hear from him. I was sending him texts and he wasn't responding, and so that's kind of weird, but I just ignored it. I was just watching TV with my family, and then 9 o'clock rolls around and my phone dings, and I was like, let's see what it is. And I open it, and it was from Nick, and it was a picture of him and his ex kissing with both their middle fingers up at the camera. I was just like, what? And also they said F you in the message, and that's all it was. I was just like, what the hell? I think I sent him a paragraph after that. I didn't even cry, to be honest, but I was really shattered. I was like, this whole time I'm thinking he's coming to my house, his ex is there, and they're back together and they're flipping me off. I'm like, what did I do? He also gave me his Snapchat passwords like prior, so I logged onto his Snapchat, and I, posted like, I'm a cheater, and like I just basically like was pretending to be him. And also I was opening up all of his messages and saw that he was literally cheating the entire time. Even though we weren't officially together, we still were telling people we were together, and he was like cheating. And I have not heard from him since then. It was about 6 years ago now. We have never spoken since that moment, since that text message. But the girl, like a week later, he cheated on her with another girl, and she messaged me, and she was just like, me and her basically got together, compared notes. He was playing both of us. He was telling her I made him break up with her, and then he was telling me, obviously that he wanted to break up with her, and just making us both go against each other, even though we were both being played by him. So she's happily married now. I'm about to be happily married. Like, we're obviously over this dude, but we both got played, and like, it was just so stupid. But like, I was so heartbroken over it. I don't know why. Donovan, me and him were friends at the time. Like I told you, he saw the pictures. He reached out to me on Facebook. We were talking about it for like a whole week. I was like crying about it, and he's like, oh, let's hang out, let me make you feel better, like I'm gonna take you out. So we hung out, and then he asked me to be his girlfriend, and we've been together ever since. So if it wasn't for Nick, me and Donovan, I don't know if we would be together now. We probably still would be, because me and Donovan, like, we have a whole past. I don't know if I ever told the full story of me and Dono and all of our history, but basically the main reason is because Nick. Thank you, F you, but thank you, because I'm engaged, and you're still freaking cheating on every girl that you get with, and yeah. So that's that story. That's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I want to do more like get ready with me's while I chat about life events or just anything in general, like embarrassing stories, and like the time I catfished my whole school and all that crap. That's a whole story. Oh my god. My camera just died, obviously. Look how pretty my makeup looks. I will have everything that I use linked down below. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave it a like and leave any comments of what I should talk about next in the chatty get ready with me. Like I said, I want to do my embarrassing stories. The time I catfished an entire school for like years. I've been wanting to tell that story forever. Or just talking about growing up without a mom, or just any little stories. I even want to do a chatty get ready with me, like get to know me kind of video, because I don't have a get to know me on my channel, and that would be fun for all my subscribers to see. But yeah, I've rambled too much. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye.